Hi guys, so I'm here with another weekly makeup bag. I want to go ahead and get started because I think this is from the past 2 or 3 weeks. There's a lot of stuff in here though, so let's just jump on in. So I actually went, well, it is from 3 weeks because I went home for Christmas and I took a bag with me and I just took things that I could use on the trip. So I took like 4 eyeshadow palettes, meaning that I wasn't going to use every shade, but I was going to use each palette like one time. Or for example, I took this Covergirl True Naked Sunset palette and I had used most of the shades, but I didn't use a couple of them and I wanted to try it out. So I had these three here at the end that I wanted to use. So I combined this with another palette and used it up. And then same thing with the next palette I'm about to show you. I used it one time, then moved it on. I have so many eyeshadow palettes that it's just important for me to use all of them all the time. So what I like to do is not use it like one palette per week, but use it like one palette per day, then switch it out in another palette, and then another one. And when I bring new palettes in, I like to try every color and create different looks and see what I think of the palette and then move it onto the next palette. So I was using the True Naked Sunset palette. I really like this. I'm not a huge fan of like red and pink tones, but I wanted to pick this up because I don't have a lot of those shades in my collection. So I really like the consistency of this. They are a little powdery, but they don't have a lot of fallout, and the eyeshadows look very vibrant on the eyes. The shimmers are really nice, and the darker shades are really pretty. It looks like there's a lot of shades that are similar, but they're really not. And now that CoverGirl is cruelty-free, I can try more things, and I really have liked their brand. Another thing from CoverGirl that I was using recently was the True Blend Contour palette. This is a highlight, contour, and bronzer in it. Now, I'm not a huge fan of contour palettes that are cream because I just don't use cream products that much, but I found myself using this a lot and really enjoying it. So the highlighting shade just use on my cheeks, where I would add a shimmery highlighter, the contour, and then the bronzer. This is a shimmery bronzer and I do like it, but like I said, I don't use creams a lot, so I try to use this as much as possible, but I wouldn't say it's a go-to for me just because I'm more like comfortable and I feel more at home with powder products, so I enjoy them more. But I do think that's a great little palette, and especially if you're looking for a cream, you don't have to buy something like the Anastasia palette, which I know is a popular one, or the Lorac one is another popular one, but just go for something like that because it's great quality also. So for example, of palettes that I use once, I have this Lorac New Necessities palette, which is one of my favorites. I've shown it here before. A lot of the colors are very similar, but it creates such pretty eye looks. It's a Nude Lover's Dream palette. It has shimmers and mattes in here, and I have it on my eyes today. I use this for the base shade, and then I have the, I think it's this shade I use as a transition, and then this one here for the crease, and I really loved it. So I used this mixed with this Urban Decay palette, which is the Shadow Box palette. Now this one I have mixed feelings about. So I used to love this, but it's been a while since I've used it, and I tried Smog all over the lids and it just didn't show up great. So then I added a little bit of Sin, and it's like this shimmer just isn't there anymore, which is really weird. So then I went in with Lost on the outer corner, and that's the eye look that I have today. So the Lorac and this one. However, after using this today, it's just not as pigmented as it used to be, so I'm actually moving it out of my collection. I don't know if the shadows are just old or what's going on with that one, but I don't need it because I have other palettes that are way more pigmented than that one, so it's just time for that one to leave. But for example, I didn't use all the colors in there. I just used it once and then moved on. That's kind of what I do with my eyeshadows since I have so many. So then I had this 24 karat gold palette from Revolution, and this was actually out before the gold palette from Too Faced, so Too Faced definitely stole this look from Revolution, although the colors inside aren't similar to that Too Faced palette. I think they stole this kind of from the chocolate bar, so they kind of stole from each other. But I really love this. It's very pretty if you're really into neutrals. There's this pretty green here. There's a black, but all the rest are very neutral. There's a mauve up here, which is really pretty. But I love Makeup Revolution's palettes. Their quality is really nice. They're pigmented. They're easy to work with, easy to blend out, and very pigmented shimmers in those as well. This Makeup Revolution is the Neutrals versus Neutrals palette, and I do have to say I'm actually going to be getting rid of this palette. I wasn't impressed with this when I went back to using it. So it's kind of like a dupe for the Peach palette from Too Faced, and honestly, I used this the other day and I was just really let down by the quality of it. I remembered it being so much better than it is, so I'm just moving that out of my collection as well, as I do have similar shades. One that I really liked though was this Urban Decay Beached eyeshadow palette. Now when I saw this, how beautiful is it? But then the colors inside just really spoke to me. So these warmer tones here weren't necessarily like the ones I gravitated towards. It was the blues down here and these two shimmers up here, which are really, really pretty. But you get a lot of nice looks out of this. The shimmers are great, high pigment, high shimmer. Really love this. I think it's really nice for the summertime, but you can even, you know, mix your warm and cools for the fall, winter, whatever. Whenever you want to use it, there's no rules to makeup. I know a lot of people have their warms in the winter and cools and whatever, but I just use what I like when I like to. So this is really pretty, really great quality. I think it was limited edition, but it was something that I went back to using and really enjoyed. When the Golden Globes or whatever award show was just on, so Lady Gaga had the periwinkle dress, and Norvina was talking on Twitter about the periwinkle color and how she loved it, and then people were talking about the Norvina palette, which then reminded me I needed to use my Norvina palette because it's got such pretty shades in it, and that periwinkle shade right there that's called Soul, I definitely used that and came out with a really pretty look. So I put this in the crease and then I went in with Dreamer all over the lid, and I thought it looked really, really pretty. This palette is just great. I really like this eccentric shade here. It's kind of like an orangey, brown, yellowy undertone to it, and I just love this palette. Glad I went back to using that. So thank you to Lady Gaga for wearing periwinkle so that I could remember that I should be using that palette more often. And then went back to using my Saint and Sinner palette from Kat Von D. This one I took home with me over Christmas break. So it has some neutrals and then it has some pops of color. It's been a while since I've used this palette and I really do enjoy the pigmentation of these shades and the quality in here. There's just a lot to choose from. You can do your neutrals, you can do your really bright pops of color, and I wore it on New Year's Eve, you know, so it became a palette that had a lot of diversity in it, and it really spoke to me. When I was on break, I was able to use the more pigmented colors. I don't use that, you know, every day since I work in a school. I think it's kind of not appropriate. Nobody said anything to me about that kind of thing, but, you know, I like to wear the colors when I can feel free to experiment, and so that was a very, very nice palette to go back to. I don't use that as much as I should, and I've really been enjoying it. And then the Anastasia Dream palette. This is the highlighter palette, and it has these 6 shades in it. So you have Magic, which is a kind of grayish greenish tone, but it pulls pink. And then this pink, you have kind of like this champagne shade, purple, yellow, and then kind of like an apricot. I really like this. I think it adds nice shimmer to the cheeks. This is one of those palettes though that has more of like the glitter to it, kind of like the Nicole Guerrero palette, which I love, but I know a lot of people don't like that. They just like the wet looking formula, like the original 4-pan glow kits from them. I really enjoy this one. I like the little other 6-pan ones that they have. I don't know what they're called right now. The Moonchild and the whatever. But I like the like more glittery texture. I like the other one too, but I do enjoy the more glittery texture to that. Okay, so now getting more into face, I was using my Natasha Denona Glow highlighter. This is one that just really looks natural in the skin. You can sheer it out, build it up, whatever you want to do. It's really nice for everyday wear. I was wearing it to work, so it was not super pigmented. Like I said, you can put it on pretty sheer, but I love that shade, and it's nice for daily wear. I also took this home over Christmas. This is the Afterglow palette from Urban Decay. This was the first one they have out. They have a second one out now, but this I really enjoy because it has a champagne, a gold, a bronze, and a pink. I really love the pink shade, but I really do like all of those shades, and I think they're really pretty. I know this is like hit or miss with people. Either people love it or they seem to hate it, but I really enjoyed it, so love that little palette. Great size for travel too, because you have your choice of 4, and then you can mix and match also. But I don't know why people don't love it, because I love it. Also took this home. This is the Hourglass Ambient palette from, I believe, last year. So this shade I was using all over the face, using this as a bronzer, and then this is the one I use for blush most often because it's very soft. This one is very pigmented on the skin, which is really pretty, but you know, I was just gravitating more towards this because I was using palettes that were more colorful. And then this is a highlighter shade. I really enjoy this palette. I got probably 3 weeks worth of use out of this, and then I decided I probably should move it out of my collection, out of my makeup bag, not my collection, out of my makeup bag, and use something else for a change so that I wasn't wearing that down too much. And that was the same thing I did with the butter bronzer. So I was using this, getting good use out of it. Didn't hit pan or anything yet, because I mean, I feel like this just goes forever. But I was using this a lot, and then I was like, you know what, I have a lot of other bronzers, let me switch it up, use something different. So this one, I don't need to stay on that all day. We all know how much everybody loves that one. The CoverGirl Clean Makeup Normal Skin Pressed Powder in Creamy Natural. I went a little bit darker. I did self-tan. It is faded now a little bit, but was using this when I was more fair. Now that I'm a little bit more tan, I'm using a different powder, so I moved that out of my makeup bag, but I wanted to show that. Also, this CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir in 705, which is ivory. This is the lightest shade that I could find at Walmart. I don't know if they have something lighter than that, but I'm pretty sure this is the lightest one. And it oxidizes on me to where it looks more like it would fit my skin tone when I have one layer of tanner on. So it's a little bit deeper than what I am now, but I wouldn't call this fair. This is more like well, this is ivory. I would call it more like a beige. It's definitely a little bit dark because my face and my neck weren't matching when I was just my natural skin tone. So I definitely think they could expand the line and make more shades than that. But I do love the way that it sits on my skin, the way it looks. It just makes my skin look so flawless. So I enjoyed it, although it wasn't really the proper color for me. The Wet n Wild Mega Glow Concealer Stick in Follow Your Bisque. Talked about this a lot. I use this on blemishes when I'm fair. This is my shade. Really enjoy that, and I've used that a lot over the years. And then I was using my Marc Jacobs Do You Dewdrops. So you can see I've made some good progress, which is good because for the longest time I wasn't using this. It does have a slight coconut scent, and it is a goldish tint. I do mix a drop of this in with my face primer, which right now is the Too Faced Hangover RX, and I think it gives a nice glow all over the skin. It's not too much, not noticeable at all. I think it just is really, really pretty. So that's how I've been getting some good use out of that. Now, what I have left are single eyeshadows and some lip products, a couple pencils, so let's get into that. My Tarte Shape Tape in Fair, Light, and Neutral. This is kind of my soft tan shade, but I moved it out of my makeup bag because I went back to using my Born This Way concealer. So right now, Shape Tape is taking a break. I used my Buxom full-on lip cream in the shade Hot Toddy. This is a nice pinky toned gloss. Really love that. It has that minty tingle to it, but I love it, and then I really enjoy that. I used the Melted Matte Liquid Lip from Too Faced in Lady Balls. I like to use this around Christmas time because it's that traditional yellow, or traditional red. It's very bright, it's very pigmented. It's that just classic red lip look to it. I used this Nyx Lingerie gloss in the shade Spirit, and just a nice nude for every day. I enjoy the gloss, although the scent of it is kind of like that fakey, plasticky scent, but if you can get by that, it's a really nice color. This is a Lorac Pro Matte Lip Color in the shade Tawny. It's, again, a really pretty nude. You'll see a lot of nudes because that's what I wear during the week, and I have a ton of them in my collection, but I like these lip pencils. I'm not sure if they still have those or not. This Bareminerals Kitty lipstick. This is just a nude pink shade. Love the formula on these. This is Gen Nude Collection. This was a mini from, I think, 2 Christmases ago. Nyx Lingerie in, well, Bedtime Flirt. Okay, so this is the matte liquid lip that they have. It is a little drying, although I don't think it's super uncomfortable. This is kind of a pinky nude, which I love the color on that, so enjoy that one. Milani Matte Lip in Matte Naked. This is a nice mauve-y nude, and it just has that texture that it goes on like a regular lipstick, but then it has almost like a powdery feeling to it, so it's not drying on the skin, which I appreciate, and it has a slight vanilla cakey scent to it. Wink from Bareminerals. This is a matte liquid lip, and it's a very nude pink. It's almost too nude, but again, they have that buttercream scent to it. Really enjoy their formula on the liquid lips. It's not drying. It's almost like a moussey texture when you put it on, which I really appreciate because then it doesn't get super drying. Tarte Glossy Lip Paint in the shade Goals. Pretty pink gloss. Love that. And the gloss isn't sticky. It's a really nice formula, very pigmented, so I enjoy that one a lot. Smashbox Always On Liquid Lip. This is in the shade Misconduct, and it's a classic like burgundy red shade, nice for the fall time. Got this from the holiday set that they had, and really enjoy the formula on that as well. That's another one of my favorite formulas if I had to pick one. Okay, last few things I have. ColourPop eyeshadow. This is Bumblebee. This is an orange that has a yellow gold shift to it. I think it's really pretty on the eyes. I used this over the holidays, and I just love the way it looks on my eyes. This was part of the Butterfly collection that they had that was limited edition. I'm not sure if it's still on the website or not. And then I have the shade Hammered from them, which is a green-gray shade with like silver glitters mixed in. It's very, very pretty. I love the Super Shock shadows in the metallic and the glitter. They're very pretty, but the metallic is my favorite formula from them, which is what that is. I have this eyeshadow single from Essence in Apricotta. It's a nude white almost with a pinky tint to it. I like to use this to set my eyeshadow primer before I create any looks. I like to have a nice white or light colored shadow to start, and this one is very pretty, and then it adds that nice highlight under the brow bone as well. Over the holidays I was experimenting with some glitter, so I created a look with, I don't even remember what palette it was right now, but this was the collection from last Christmas. It was like the Ruby collection, I believe. It has a red, a kind of reddish pink, and then a gold glitter. They just twist off of each other, and they are each other's lids, so you kind of have to hold it together. But I just mixed those together, put some NYX glitter glue on my lid, and then tapped this on. It made it really pretty. Wore this on Christmas Eve and loved the look that I had from that. I found another eyeshadow palette, the Shade and Light Eye in Rust from Kat Von D. I really love this texture. The formula of her mattes is really pretty. I don't have this particular shade in any other palette that I own, so it's kind of outside my box because I don't like a lot of warm tones, but something about this and this shade here in particular, I just really like. And I have a sensitivity to red eyeshadows, and I didn't with that, so that was also a plus. Where the Night Is Super Shock Shadow Collection from Kathleen Lights. It has a burgundy, a kind of red rust color, a dark green, and then a chartreuse color. I really love this. Go back to that all the time. That chartreuse is very, very pretty. Then I have two NYX Faux White pencils. One is Honeydew and one is Linen. So it's a green and a pink pencil, and I like to put this in the inner rim. It's a green and a pink, but it has it's kind of like, you know, lining your inner rim with the white liners to open your eyes, or like a nude liner, but this just adds a little bit of color, but you can't really tell. But I like to use it, I like to use, say, the green, for example, when I use red eyeshadow, so it brightens it up, but it doesn't look too overpowering. And then the last two things I have in here, I bought the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Trio for the holidays. After the holidays, it was on sale. So there's Midnight Cowboy and Starfire. So those are the two. Starfire, this one here, is on my eyes today. And then I wore this one the other day, Midnight Cowboy, wore that one the other day. Very pretty, super easy to use. So if you haven't seen these before, they come out in like a liner brush formula, and you just paint it on, and it doesn't really have a base color, so you can put it over top of any eyeshadow. I like to use these, especially when, like today, I wasn't super happy with that Urban Decay palette, so I wanted more shimmer on my eyes, so I was like, oh, I can just add the glitter. And it's an easy way to use glitter. It brightens any look. It's really nice. So those are all the products that I've been using the last 3 weeks. I hope you enjoy this. Got rid of two products, the Neutrals versus Neutrals and the Urban Decay palette. So I'm also going to be doing a declutter of my palettes, and I'll show you an updated collection that I have back here. I also have a haul coming up, so be sure to look for that, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!